I sat alone in the dim living room, the only glow coming from a single lamp flickering in the corner. The silence wrapped around me like a heavy shroud, thick and suffocating. Everything I owned had already been packed away. My bags were in the car, the moving truck long gone. All that remained now was a single key resting on the coffee table. But I stayed a little longer. Not for closure, not for drama. I stayed because I needed to see her face when the truth finally landed, when the illusion shattered. This house hadn't felt like home in over a year. Our marriage had faded into a dull fog I could no longer see through everyday glare. Than the one before, Emily wasn't the same woman I had once fallen hopelessly for. The warmth in her laugh, the light in her touch gone. Her smiles had become mechanical, her hugs hollow, and the conversations that once stretched into the night had withered into silence. As if her soul was always somewhere else, she was slipping away. Her phone became her second skin, always glowing, always close. Secrets radiated from its screen. I saw the signs in flickers in the late nights that blurred into early mornings, in the dinners that were always work, always unexplained. She came to bed smelling faintly of a cologne that wasn't mine. 3 weeks ago, I caught the final thread unravel. I left work early to surprise her. Her car wasn't in the driveway, but the front door was unlocked. Inside, laughter floated down from upstairs, soft, flirtatious, and unmistakably not meant for me. A man's low chuckle followed hers. I didn't go up. I didn't need to see it. I turned around, walked out, and closed the door on the life I thought we had. I didn't confront her. Not then. I simply began to disappear, slowly, silently. I traced her lies back to their origin. I found the texts, the hotel bookings, the photos she thought she'd hidden. I learned his name, Grant, her boss, twice her age, polished smile, empty promises. She glowed for him in a way she hadn't for me in years. The message I found shattered what was left. Wish you were the one I came home to. Something inside me cracked, but I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't rage. I just began to move on. The next morning, I met with a lawyer, quietly filed the paperwork, gathered documents, redirected funds to accounts only I could reach. I boxed up my life piece by piece, the framed photos we never dusted, my clothes, the old guitar she used to beg me to play, gone. Even the furniture she barely noticed began to vanish, donated, sold. She didn't see any of it. Too preoccupied with her other life. Tonight, she had dinner plans with Grant at the same overpriced restaurant she once insisted we could barely afford. Last night, she leaned in close before bed and whispered, "Don't wait up." I smiled and told her, "Take all the time you want." This morning, I cleared the rest, stripped every trace of me from every room. Milo, our dog, the one she'd long stopped walking, lay curled in the back seat of my car, waiting. I removed my name from the lease, rerouted the mail, changed my number, and left the key behind, resting beside the divorce papers with a pen. She texted me mid-evening, "Dinner's amazing. Miss you, Red Art." I didn't reply. I didn't even read it until hours later, phone face down on the end table. When her car finally eased into the driveway, I stayed still. The front door creaked open. Her heels tapped across the hardwood, echoing through the silence. "Babe," she called, cheerful and oblivious. She hit the light switch. Bright white flooded the room. Her eyes darted around, confused. The house was bare. No couch, no photos, no trace of me. She looked at me like I was a ghost. "Jason, what is this? Where's everything? Are we moving?" I nodded toward the coffee table. She stepped forward hesitantly and picked up the papers, her hands trembling as her eyes scanned the first few lines. Her face went pale. "You're divorcing me," she whispered. I spoke for the first time that night. My voice didn't tremble. It didn't rise. It was still and sharp. "You left first, Emily. I'm just making it real." Tears welled up, instantly, dragging her mascara into dark streaks. "Jason, don't. We can fix this." "No," I said flatly. "You don't want to fix anything. You just don't want to be alone." She opened her mouth to argue, but the words didn't come. She just stood there, shaking. I moved toward the door. She stumbled after me. "Please, Jason." I was confused. "No," I said, turning to face her one last time. You were careless, and I was stupid enough to wait for a woman who was already gone. That's over now." She looked around in growing panic at the stripped walls, the empty shelves, the life that had slipped away when she wasn't watching. "Where's Milo?" "He's with me," I replied. "He deserves better than this, too." She dropped to her knees, clutching the divorce papers like they could keep her grounded. Tears splashed onto the floor, hands trembling, lips parted in a silent sob. I opened the front door. Cool night air met me like a bomb. "You broke this, Emily. You don't get to be sad. It's gone." I stepped outside. She called my name behind me, voice raw, cracking apart at the edges. Her sobs followed me into the night. I didn't look back. I got into the car. Milo wagged his tail gently, resting his head on the seat beside me. I pulled away from that hollow, echoing house, away from the betrayal, the lies, the weight of pretending, and for the first time in a long, long time, I felt something stir inside me, something like peace, like freedom, and that was enough.